Most business owners don't realize they're paying for marketing twice, once in dollars and again in lost time, stored momentum, and decisions that never quite land. You're paying for tools you don't fully use, campaigns that never compound, and content that looks busy but doesn't move the needle. And often, the biggest cost isn't what you're spending, it's what you're not seeing, because no one is holding the strategic view. In this episode, I'm breaking down why doing marketing alone or trying to patch it together in-house is quietly costing SMEs like yours far more than you realize. Not because you're doing it wrong, but because you're doing it without strategic leadership. And in 2026, execution without strategy is one of the most expensive mistakes a business can make. In fact, the most expensive marketing decision is trying to do it all yourself. Welcome to the Digital Success for Business podcast. I'm Leanne Cohens, founder of Marketing Leap, and for over 12 years I've worked with business owners who are smart, capable, and invested in their growth, yet still feeling stretched, reactive, and stuck in their marketing. And what I've seen time and time again is this: the problem isn't effort, it's leadership. So in this episode, we're unpacking the real cost of going it alone with marketing, the hidden gaps, the missed opportunities, and the momentum that never quite builds, because businesses that grow sustainably in 2026 aren't doing more marketing. They're making better decisions earlier with the right strategic lens in place. And now, with AI tools everywhere, that illusion feels even stronger. Hiring a junior marketer feels affordable. Outsourcing bits and pieces feels flexible. And doing it yourself just feels responsible. And now, with tools like ChatGPT, Gemini, and Perplexity at your fingertips, it can feel like strategy is covered. You can generate ideas, write posts, draft emails, spin up content faster than ever before. But here's the problem. Strategy is more than a prompt, because your customers are not navigating the digital world the way they did even 2 years ago. They're searching differently. They're validating differently, and they're making decisions across multiple platforms, conversations, and touch points before they ever commit. AI has increased the content capacity. It has increased activity and increased the noise. What it hasn't done is replace the need for alignment. Alignment between what you say and what you stand for, between your content and your customer's actual decision-making process, and alignment between your marketing activity and your business goals. When marketing is handled in-house without strategic leadership, there's often no one holding the alignment. No one asking, does this reflect our values? Or does this support the buyer journey? Or even, does this move the business forward? Or are we just filling space? So content goes out, ads get launched, emails get sent, tools get added, but nothing compounds. Because execution without direction doesn't create momentum, it creates motion. And the real cost isn't the salary or the software subscriptions, it's the time lost chasing tactics. It's the trust eroded with your clients through inconsistent messaging, and the growth that stalls because no one is actually steering the system. You're paying for activity, not progress, for output, not outcomes. And while AI might have increased the capacity, the strategy is what actually creates the direction. And this is where a lot of businesses get stuck. Not failing, just simply not flying, and just busy. And we're already midway through the second month of the year, if you're listening and watching this while it first airs. You might be posting regularly, you might be running a few ads here and there, and your website might work, mostly. Leads come in, but not consistently enough to rely on. So you keep tweaking, you change the messaging, you adjust the offer, you try another platform, you add another tool. And before you know it, marketing becomes something that you're constantly responding to instead of something that's actually driving the business forward. And this is a danger zone for many small businesses. You're busy, but you're not growing. Without leadership, marketing turns reactive. You're chasing symptoms instead of solving the root problem. You're making decisions based on what feels urgent, not what's strategic. And AI has amplified this too, because there's more content and ideas and activity than ever before. Multiple studies have shown that over 60% of small and mid-sized businesses say that their marketing feels busy but not effective. They're doing a lot, posting, emailing, tweaking ads, but they can't clearly tie that activity back to revenue or growth. But more activity doesn't equal alignment. If no one is stepping back to ask why you're doing what you're doing, how it connects to your business goals, or whether it actually reflects your values and positioning, you end up with motion but no momentum. And here's another statistic that should stop you in your tracks. Nearly 70% of all marketing initiatives fail, not because of poor execution, but because of unclear strategy and priorities. Not bad ideas or lack of effort, but a lack of alignment. And the current marketing landscape is making this harder, not easier. Right now, around 51% of all the web traffic is automated. More than a third of all internet traffic is coming from bots. And that means that your analytics, your traffic numbers, and even your conversion rates are often skewed by visitors who are simply never going to buy in the first place because they're not real. So when you're doing more marketing without strategy, you're often reacting to noise. You're tweaking content based on inflated traffic and changing directors because the numbers look off. You're questioning what's working when the data itself isn't clean. Gone are the days where growth came from more effort. Now it comes from direction. It comes from doing the right things in the right order with the right lens. And that direction only comes when someone is responsible for the whole picture, not just execution, but priorities, sequencing, and decisions that compound instead of reset every month. Without strategic leadership, it's incredibly easy to confuse activity with progress. Busy feels productive. Direction is what actually grows your business. And this isn't just a feeling. The data backs it up. We are now in the AI era, and I kid you not, there's a social network called Maltbook designed purely for AI bots to talk to other bots. No people involved. Machines validating machines. So let that sink in for a minute. While that's happening, real buyers are becoming more selective, more cautious, and more discerning. Businesses are producing 3 to 5 times more content than they were just simply 2 years ago. But trust and conversion rates haven't increased at the same pace. Activity's exploded, but results haven't. And that's the gap. Because more activity doesn't equal alignment. And if no one is stepping back to ask why you're doing what you're doing and how it connects to your goals, or whether it actually even reflects your values and positioning, again, you end up with motion, but no momentum. And this is where the reframe really happens. A fractional CMO isn't there to replace your team. They're there to align it. They don't add more noise, they create clarity. They look across everything you're doing and ask the questions that rarely get asked in-house, which is what matters most right now. What will move our business forward and what can wait? Because growth doesn't come from doing more. As I said earlier, it comes from doing the right things in the right order for the right reason. Instead of another person doing more posts and more emails and more ads, a fractional CMO steps back and looks at the whole picture, what actually matters right now, and what should be prioritized with what should be paused, and what needs to work together instead of in isolation. You get strategic direction, prioritization, and accountability, and most importantly, you get a clear plan that connects your marketing activity to revenue, not just visibility. And this is where things really start to shift, because once there's a strategic leadership in place, something interesting happens. The noise dies down, the panic posting stops, and constant pivoting slows. And instead of reacting to every new idea, platform, or AI tool, decisions start getting made with intention. And I've seen this play out time and time again. One client came to us with plenty of activity, regular social posts, a few ad campaigns, a capable internal team. On the surface, everything looked busy enough, but nothing was compounding. Each month felt like starting over. And once we stepped in at a strategic level, the work didn't actually increase, it streamlined. We clarified the priorities, mapped the buyer journey properly, and aligned content, ads, and follow-up around a single growth goal. Within a few months, the team wasn't working harder, they were working with direction. And suddenly results became predictable instead of hopeful. This is the part most business owners don't see from the outside. The difference isn't effort, it's orchestration. And that brings us to the next piece of the puzzle. Because once strategy is clear, the real question becomes this: where does your time, money, and focus actually go next? And this is what separates businesses that stay busy from businesses that build momentum. At Marketing Leap, this is exactly how we work with our clients. We don't jump straight into execution. We work in 3-month strategy cycles with clear focus areas, clear outcomes, and systems that build on each other instead of resetting every time a campaign ends. That means content, ads, email, SEO, and funnels are all working towards the same goal, not competing for attention. Decisions get made faster, teams stop second-guessing, and momentum actually builds. This is the difference between doing marketing and leading it. And a fractional CMO doesn't do more marketing. They make your marketing work. And when marketing starts working like that, it stops feeling heavy and it starts feeling intentional. In 2026, AI, automation, and content volume aren't the differentiators anymore. Everyone has access to these tools. Everyone can publish more. Everyone can automate faster. What actually makes the difference is direction. The businesses that will win this year aren't the busiest. They're the clearest. They know what deserves focus right now, what can be ignored without guilt, and what actually drives growth instead of activity. They're not reacting to every platform or algorithm shift or every shiny tool that pops up. They're making intentional decisions. And that only happens when someone is overseeing the whole picture, not reacting week to week and not guessing based on last month's results that often aren't even accurate. But leading with context, clarity, and a long-term view, because when there's no strategic leadership, marketing becomes a series of short-term decisions that never quite add up. When there is leadership, everything starts to connect. The message sharpens, the effort compounds, and momentum finally builds. If your marketing feels expensive, exhausting, or inconsistent, the issue is usually not the effort, it's leadership. And trying to do it all yourself can feel responsible in the short term. Hiring bit by bit can feel flexible, but over time those decisions often cost you more in stalled momentum, missed opportunities, and marketing that never really quite compounds. So if you're ready to stop guessing and start growing with a clear strategic plan, this is exactly what we do inside Marketing Leap. We step in as your fractional CMO to bring direction, prioritization, and accountability to your marketing. We connect the dots between your content, your funnels, and your platforms, and your revenue so that everything works together instead of competing for your time and budget. So head to marketingleap.net and book your strategy session, and let's put leadership back into your marketing and momentum back into your business. And make sure you're subscribed, because in episode 41, we are unpacking what happens when humans aren't the majority online, what it means when more than half of your traffic isn't human, and why clicks matter less than ever, and how to make sure that your brand still gets seen, trusted, and chosen. We'll see you then. Thanks for tuning in to the Digital Success for Business podcast. Don't forget to subscribe, leave a review, and follow us on YouTube for even more tips.